Welcome to episode 3 of Breaking Into the Field. Today I'm with
Nick Textoris, a professional sports photographer.
Awesome. So to get started, how did you get into sports photography?
So I've been doing photography probably about 5 years-ish now, and it was kind of just something where instead of watching the games, I thought I could just photograph them. And most of my photography stuff has always been spur of the moment, so it was kind of one of those things where I just asked the school, like, hey, can I photograph the game? They're like, yeah, and that's how it started, man. That's literally how it started.
So once when you started, it was first like free and stuff like that. How did you change it to start getting paid and make it like a full-time business for you?
Honestly, you have to start at the free part. You have to sacrifice that, and then kind of once you build a little bit of a portfolio, then you can kind of reach out more to higher level places and be like, hey, I'm a professional photographer. I can cover this game for you. Let me know. And that's kind of how you got to kind of start into it, which is kind of just reaching out wherever you can. So that's a large part of what I do is reaching out.
How long did it take you to start getting like paid gigs and just span of like the beginning and where you're at now? Like how far or how long have you been on this journey?
Sports, probably, what am I, in my third year or something like that. It took me probably only like a couple months. I've had a lot of experience in the corporate photography base, so that kind of taught me a lot about professionalism and learning how to communicate. I'd say that's one of the most important aspects of this business is communication. So kind of understanding what needs to be said to get to that point. But really what it comes down to is doing that free stuff, sacrificing, and then transitioning once you feel like you're good.
And with your username, I like to ask people's story, like what made you make your username the way that it is now, if you don't mind
On
sharing.
Instagram, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Korean, but when I was in college, there was never any Korean classes. The closest thing I could come up with was Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
So the first part, Kankoku, literally means the word Korean, but it's in Japanese.
Okay.
And then G is part of my middle name from my Korean name. So that's really all it is. I mean, I like to keep it that way, but I don't usually ever like say it to people because people are usually a little confused by it when they first hear it. But it's something that is personal to me, so that's how it came to be.
Nice. That's how it is with me. Like I always see people with their creative names, like it's almost like something films or something flicks, or so I try to be unique, and I just did my first name and last name because that's the way I feel like to get anybody's attention.
That's how people are gonna know you by, right? So
Yeah. So, what's your favorite sport to shoot?
it's gotta be basketball, just because that's a sport that I grew up watching. The first basketball player I ever watched was Kobe. So from there, that's kind of where everything started of just loving the sport. And honestly, what's great about it is the lighting's never going to change. You're never going to have to worry about whether it's going to be raining or whether you're going to need an ND filter. You can just go with what you got, and that's what I love. It's just consistent.
So, the first time I met you was at FDU's first game of football last year against William Patterson, and you're actually the first person that I ever met at FDU.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, so what was your first impressions of me when you first met me?
Jeez, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But you were good. You were good, man. You're really good at what you do, and I saw that you had an innate skill to being in the field, and I don't know, I saw the love that you had for it. So I think that's the thing that stood out to me the most, was that you had that same love for video or photo, whatever it was.
I feel like when I first met you, it was kind of strange because I never felt so much like support before, especially by someone individually. And the first couple of months, you had so much trust in me, and that you'd give me equipment, just handing it over. It was just overwhelming.
I mean, in this business, you have to be supportive. There's so much competition. Even like, I'll say this, like, we may be cool with each other, but in the same breath, we're competing. because we're in that same space. But it's also important to understand that in order for everybody to kind of get better is we have to support each other. So that's the most important part.
And I like that about you because you're always bringing people up, I feel like. Even if it's just me, but I feel like there's other people that you've done.
You have to. You have to. It's the nature of it. And again, there's so many of us. We're probably the most replaceable asset in the industry, and in pretty much almost any industry. You could just replace us with anybody. And so I feel like you got to just support each other because you never know when something's going to happen.
Let's move into software. What is your favorite like go-to softwares for photo or video?
You know, like editing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Probably like Lightroom Classic is good. That's just something that I've just always used. So it's kind of one of those things where it's just you just use it once. You just, if it works, don't fix what ain't broke. So.
Do you use it's like a culling software.
Photo Mechanic?
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you use that?
yes.
Do you
yes.
recommend it?
You have to have a reason to use it. I would always use it just because what it's nice about it is a lot of times when you upload all your photos to Lightroom per se, there's that wait time that you have to wait for all your files to go into Lightroom. But with Photo Mechanic, it's instant. It's instant. So you don't have to have that wait time to like say like, oh, I want to upload 10 photos to the client after the first quarter, let's just say, for example.
Right.
Well, if you do that in Lightroom, you're going to be waiting a long time. Chances are you're not going to have any more time to do that because the game's going to start again.
Right.
So with Photo Mechanic, you can at least instantly see what you like and then pull those into Lightroom or wherever.
Gotcha. Because I've been on the fence of getting it because when I look for like applications, job applications, they're like saying it's a requirement almost to have knowledge in it. And I thought I might as well start going in. Do you have the yearly subscription or do you just outbought the software?
I think I have the yearly subscription, but I don't. Can you buy it just outright?
Yeah, I saw that they recently, but the thing is that they only have 1 year up for updates, and then after that, it's just the software is not updatable. So I was talking to my grandfather who's like into cameras and stuff, and he was like, well, you might as well just stick to the year plan. That way you have more updates, because with more updates, I'm sure they'll add maybe AI. I know there's another culling system. I can't remember the application, but Mashira uses it, and it has face detection, and it scans the faces of like how like the eyes are like wide open or how sharp the image is, and it culls right through that. So yeah. I can't remember the software on the top of my head, but she was showing it to me. So but I think I'm gonna try Photo Mechanic for sure.
Yeah, definitely. If you're wanting to be that professional, take that next step. Again, this business is sacrifice. Pay the yearly subscription and just get it.
Gotcha.
For sure.
So what's been, out of your like career so far, what's been your favorite shoot that you've done?
2024 Ivy League basketball championships. It was at Columbia. And the reason why it was so memorable to me was, one, my sister was getting engaged that same weekend.
Oh, wow.
So shoot the first few games on Friday. Then I fly all the way to Los Angeles Saturday, fly back that same night on a red eye back to shoot the championship games on Sunday.
Wow.
That was crazy. And then also Yale hit the game winner, and I got a really good celebration shot at the end. So that was kind of like my moment of knowing, like, I can do this. And at the same time, putting myself through the craziest weekend that I've ever been through up until that point, just with all the events going on. So yeah, that's for sure.
That's awesome. I think for me at least, the most recent was going to Duke to shoot FDU versus Duke in their NCAA men's playoffs.
That's cool.
It was funny because I was driving up to Rutgers getting my ID so I can have access, and I got an email from Duke saying I got the credential, and that was the day before. And I called my mom, and I'm like, I don't think I could do it. It's too soon. There's no way I can get like a flight or a hotel and like deal with all that other stuff. And she's like, just get your ID, let me handle it, and drive back home as fast as you can. So as soon as I get home, she's like, all right, I got the flight, start heading now. I'll get a book of a hotel somewhere, and you'll just have to Uber." And I'm
Wow.
like, "That's fine." So,
Wow. Okay.
within 72 hours, I was flying from here to North Carolina,
Cool.
shooting the game, then flying back home. So it was cool, and I don't think I would have been able to do that with the schedule, without the schedule I had. Thankfully, I only have classes on Thursdays, but the games were on Thursday. So I emailed my teachers, and they're like, "Yeah, go for it." So it's nice having professors that will let you go and chase your dreams.
And that's the thing too. Like, I remember when I was first doing photography and stuff like that. At first, I was first a production assistant, and I went to school at TCNJ. And the amount of times that I would skip class to go to work, just because I knew I wanted to be in that field. I knew I wanted to work and just be out there. So I can't tell you the amount of times that like my boss would call me, say, "Hey, I know you got class and stuff like that, but I just wanted to we have this trip coming up." Like, "Yep, I'm going." just because if being in this field is something you want to do,
Nothing should stop you.
Well, I don't want to say this to all the people out there, but I don't really think that school is necessarily something that you need. I think the experience is more important. But I will say graphic design, though, is universal, like not just in the sports world, but any sort of advertising, marketing. So that is something that I can see is beneficial. But are you willing to forego all those like student debts and loans and all that stuff to maybe hopefully make that up somewhere? Or do you just go on YouTube and say, how do I make a flyer for an upcoming game, or how do I do such and such? And that's something that you got to consider too.
With being 3 years into your full-time position of freelancing, what do you have any goals or like end goals that you have for yourself?
I guess just being able to provide for a family off of it, for sure. I'm definitely able to just provide for myself, but when you include more people, that there's obviously a lot more to that. I don't know. I think making that my primary source of income, because I kind of split between the corporate and the sports stuff, because in corporate there's a lot more money.
Right.
A lot more. Sports is tougher because, let's say, for example, it's me or it's a student. Who would you rather pay? If you had a budget of, let's say, like, I'm just making this up, $50. The student will do it for $5 because that's what they're paid at the school.
Right.
But I'll do it for $50. What are you gonna? You're gonna spend the $5.
Yeah.
And even if your perception is that my quality may or may not be better, you're still going to be okay with whatever the student gives you.
Right,
so
it's less.
That's where the struggle is in terms of making that kind of a consistent thing. So, but I think the goal would be to make that the primary source of income, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm not really sure yet, but it seems like you do a really good job of finding a gig every like you plan ahead and what's going forward, and just how do you just keep going? Like, how do you land these gigs and just keep going with it?
You just gotta want it. You just gotta want it. That was one of the first things that I told you, was that you really want it. You just gotta want it. Whether it's planning 2-3 months in advance, looking at every different school in the area's calendar, and then seeing where could I reach out to, whether it's taking the extra time to go above and beyond at whatever shoot you're at, to show that you're not only worth the value to where you're employed at, but you're worth the value to possibly somebody else, because all these schools communicate with each other. So just wanting it every single day and putting the work in. And that sounds corny, but that's kind of really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, same with networking. It takes time to meet people, but at the same time, if you're not willing to meet people, then you're just not going to be as successful as other people may be, because networking is the biggest thing in this field.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. What you do and what I do, anybody can do, especially with how the cameras are nowadays. There's no excuse for you not to be good at it. There really isn't. All this AI technology, like the R6 Mark III, A7 V, all these new cameras and innovations, there's no reason for you not to be good in this field. It just is how are you going to separate yourself as a person and as someone that people would want to work with.
Would you rather do something else, like work for a team or an organization, or would you still prefer being freelancing?
I go back and forth with this so often. I love having my own schedule, but there's so many times where you're like, man, I don't have enough gigs this month. Or you just wonder, like, man, like if you have no idea how many days in the month where there are multiple games going on at the same time, the same day, and now you got to pick.
Which one?
That's the hardest thing to do is to say, hey, I can't because I already committed something. Because as somebody who depends on a gig to pay your rent or something like that, that's the toughest thing, is to say no. You never want to say no.
Right.
So I would love that consistency of working on a team. At the same time, I love that one day I'm going to Pennsylvania, or one day I'm staying in Jersey, you go to New York. You just never know. So, I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. I think right now what I do is exactly what I want to be doing.
That's awesome, because I'm on the fence of what exactly. As a senior, I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do at least right now, because right now the jobs are not very heavy right now, as it will change in the spring. But with like looking at freelancing, you have your own schedule, you have your own freedom. It's just a matter of finding the gigs and just looking out for opportunities. And then the downside, I feel like you don't have benefits. You have to have license. You need to have insurance, because imagine something happens to your gear. I mean, regardless, you need a license or insurance. But I mean, there's just so many options that weigh into freelancing or working for an organization or something like that. But down the road, I'm sure I'll be doing both. I've seen creatives work in college, but they freelance in the NFL or like other organizations, and same thing in the NFL, they freelance for colleges, and it's back and forth. But it's just finding a level balance and knowing how much I'm limited to, I feel like, because you don't want to over push yourself to where you get burnt out. And the funny thing is that with all the things that I'm doing right now, I still don't feel burnt out, even though I'm like working 3 or 4 times a week. And I was telling my family this, like, it's so funny that I'm working more at Rutgers than I'm at FDU, and FDU is pretty much my full-time, I'm a full-time student here. So it's just funny to see that I'm working more than I'm learning almost, but I'm learning so much at Rutgers that you don't want to stop learning.
And that's a great place to learn. They have all the assets to help you become an even better creator. So that's really cool. That's really cool. I'm very proud of you for being able to get that gig, and for you to kind of excel in what you're doing, man. It's really good.
I appreciate it. And just like you were saying, you want to say yes to everything, and so it's great being able to get these opportunities that they give me, and it's hard to say no when I have a conflict, and I try to say yes to everything. So I think what I'm doing now is like, I couldn't imagine that I'm doing this like last year, like when I first met you. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, and you just never know what'll happen in that span of time. When I first started doing photography in general, the first couple of years, I didn't make any money at all. Everything went to equipment. I always put any money I made back into the business. So, and then eventually it kind of just out of nowhere, things started to pick up a little bit. So you just never know with this business. It's so hot and cold, and just as long as you're ready and you're willing to put in the work and stuff like that, everything will turn out okay.
How long did it take you to realize that this could be your full-time job? Like, when did you realize, like, I don't need a part-time job, like, I could just do this full-time?
Probably last year. I'm very blessed to have a lot of people that support me, and they always tell me to make sure I see the value in what I do, and always teach me things about how to value yourself. And just, I think this last year was really kind of a difference because it was my first full year out of college, and I think that was when I was going to determine whether I was going to keep on doing what I'm doing or whether I needed to find something else. Because referring back to the benefits part that you had mentioned, next year I will need to get my own health benefits and stuff like that. So if this wasn't going to be sustainable, then you would have to find something that has benefits, or just figure out a way. But I think last year kind of told me that I can do it, and I'm the type of person that once there's that little glimpse of hope that says I can do it, then I will do it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, as heading into a senior year for me, do you have any like advice, like once when you hit post grad, like how did you handle it, and like what did you look for jobs, or did you just decide freelancing was going to be it?
I just decided, just because, I mean, I had like the typical part-time jobs like in college or whatever, just to pay for food or whatever, but I knew that the field that I was in was something that I wanted to do, and it was something that I was kind of already doing like during college, so it just felt comfortable to me. The biggest piece of advice I could give to you is be patient and understand that what you're doing now is not always going to be what you could end up be doing. You could be a podcast host the next 20 years. You just never know. We are in a space where you can use a camera for so many different things, and it might not be something that you adore or want to do all the time, but if the money's there, the money's there. And if that you have an opportunity to create this stuff, then do it. I think that we're in a really lucky position, and I think you should always keep your options open.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to professors, and they're like, it's changing, everything's changing, so you don't have to take that 9 to 5, or you don't have to work at a McDonald's or something. There's content's always going to be there, and it's just a matter of time of people finding it or just being found. And I feel like with, like you said, a camera, it can just open up so many doors for you.
Yeah, I will say though, it is challenging because more and more people can just get into this space like it's nothing. I still see high-level D1 schools using A7 IIIs.
Yep.
And those are perfectly fine. Now what's going to happen when they all switch to A7 5s? Like, you could give a middle schooler that camera. He's going to look fantastic. So
Right.
I think the barrier to entry is so much lower. And I think when it comes to content, the only thing to be careful of is just that knowing that you're not going to necessarily be a success. But as long as you keep putting in the work, and good things will happen, whether it be in that space or you find something else. So I think that's why always just keep your options open for anything.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned about high school, because when you, like 10 years ago, you would see high school mixtapes of like these high recruits, and it was like really hard to have mixtapes for yourself because it was only just for high-end people.
Yeah.
And now it's just like an everyday thing, and you don't even have to be even a recruit, like a top recruit. So it's just funny to see how, not like saturated, but like how much exposure cameras are now, and anybody can get a highlight reel now.
Especially nowadays, if you look into the high school space, the people that are most crazy about things like that are the parents.
Yep.
They're the ones who, if they think that their kid's a superstar, whether the world believes it or not, they're going to pay top dollar to anybody to get them a mixtape.
Yep.
So that's where you see all these different mixtapes and areas of people, just because everybody has a camera, and any chance that a parent can get to put their kid in the spotlight, they're going to do. So
When you get these gigs, how do you like rate them, or like how do you give them like a range of like, this is how much I'm going to charge?
I'd say you got to be fair to yourself. If you said, again, I'm just making this up, let's say if someone said, I'll offer you $50, if that's enough to get you out of bed, to put your gear together and to do a whole shoot and to edit afterwards, that's fine. It's got to be enough for you, but it's also got to make sense for the school, because unfortunately, it's not necessarily a place where you can just charge top dollar. Everybody has a quote-unquote budget, whatever that means to them or to you. So I think when you start out, you could start lower. I think you could always ask for more once you kind of build that trust with whoever you're working with. And then also, too, I see lots of people who are very successful. They'll just show up to a game and they'll say, hey, such and such school, I'm here photographing the basketball game. If you want pictures, $5. I'm just making that up.
Right.
But there's other options like that too. So whatever you think is comfortable for you to get out of bed to do, then I think that's what it should be.
Gotcha. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions for you. Well, I want to know when you're gonna buy that next camera. I mean, that's the only thing that like what's one of my favorite things of talking to you about is when are you buying your next camera?
It's such a good question. I think I want to get a second body. I don't think I want to replace my camera. I think the A7 IV is like a really good camera, especially just keeping it.
Yeah, but you can get the A9 III and the A7 V.
I know, but
Can I just say one thing? Like,
yeah.
The A7 V pisses me off so much. I'm a Nikon user, right?
Right.
The Nikon shoots 20 frames per second RAW. The A7 V, which is roughly half the price at MSRP, shoots 30.
Right.
That's insane. I've been waiting so long for Nikon to come out with a camera that could shoot 30 frames per second RAW. And yet we're seeing these mid-level, I mean, even the Canon R6 Mark III could shoot 40. That's crazy to me. But I think you should buy the A9 III and the A7 V.
Okay.
Boom, call it a day.
Why the A9 III over the A1 II?
Because why not?
I know. Well, it's been a debate for me to go for either the A1 II or the A9 III. When I see the A9 III, it has amazing, what's it called, the global shutter?
Yeah, that's really cool.
I think that's the coolest part. But again, when you look at the A1 II, the megapixels, it's insane, and it's like a toss-up between the two. So I'm not really sure which one I should go for. I see professionals use both of them, but
yeah, I mean, whichever way you go, you're gonna get great images. I think the A1 II is objectively just better, just because it's gonna be way better in low light, because that global shutter just tanks your dynamic range.
Yeah.
But it's cool, shooting 120 frames per second. And
Yeah.
It's just so cool. Honestly, just get the A1 and then the A9 III.
yeah, I would if I had the money, but I don't know what to do yet, because I feel like I've only made one upgrade, and that's from the A6400 and going to the A7 IV. I still have my original lenses.
But you got the 300 2.8 though. That was a big boy. That was a big boy purchase.
That was my birthday purchase.
That
I
was
went all
a big
in,
boy
so,
purchase.
But I do not regret getting that. It's like on my camera all the time. So between that and my 17 to 70, but like I was texting you before, my ideal setup would be 16 to 35, 28 to 70, and 50 to 150.
Can't beat that. That's a lot of money right there.
It is. So it's like a debate of, do I go for camera bodies or do I go for new lenses?
Lenses.
That's what I'm
Lenses,
thinking.
but just put it on a credit card.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think, do I go for a second body and then lenses, or do I go for lenses and keep one body?
Well, when you're shooting a basketball game or whatever you're shooting, do you find yourself switching lenses a lot?
Not in basketball, but I will say in football a lot, just because they move down the field a lot, they change direction a lot. But for basketball, you can really just have a 70 to 200 and you have the whole court.
Yeah.
So at least for indoor wise, I feel like just one camera, one lens does the job. But outdoor sports, when they're moving a lot, I feel like, and the field is just super big. I mean, lacrosse season, I would probably change it a lot. So maybe by the end of winter, I might be interested in a second body, but I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, I will say, from places that I've seen, you could do any sport with just a 70 to 200.
Yeah.
Like, if you could only pick one lens to cover 90% of any single game, 70 to 200. I would say, I always liked a second body, and I might not even use the second body, but just having it there, whether just for maybe pregame or whether it's for those really rare establishing shots or something like that, it's nice to have. But you're always going to be falling back on your longer lens for most of the stuff. So I would say if you're aiming towards having that lens kit, and obviously you still have the 300 too.
Right.
So you basically bring in 4 lenses and then either 1 or 2 cameras. I would prioritize the lenses because you're going to always, you'll have the time to get those different shots because you'll see that you'll have the time.
Right.
But when the game's going, most likely you're going to be using what works for you.
Right.
So I would say get the lenses and then get the body.
Okay.
But if you need something, I'll just rent it for you. So
I appreciate you. But as we're talking about cameras, what made you decide Nikon? Because I know you've used Canon and Sony before.
Yeah. So I was Sony before, and the only reason why I use Nikon is because the sports people that I work with, they use Nikon. So to fit kind of their workflow, I switched to Nikon.
Okay.
It was crazy because it wasn't like I was working with them a long time or really in that kind of ecosystem, but it wasn't as crazy of a move because in my corporate job we use Nikon, so it wasn't a drastic difference. But I will say I will always miss that Sony autofocus.
Yeah.
I will always miss it every single day.
I feel like though Nikon is really nice for getting the shot that's like needed, gets the job done. My friend from Duke, Peter, he had his, what is it called? He had a Sony camera and the sensor like just broke. Like he had to get it replaced, and it's been like in the shop for like months. And he's like, yeah, I gotta use Nikon. And he was like, can you tell the difference between Sony and Nike? He pulled up his Instagram, and I'm like, the only thing I can really tell the difference is maybe the clarity, and that's it.
Yeah, they're all so good. On social media, you're never gonna see a difference.
Yeah.
You're never gonna see a difference. The only difference you're gonna see is when you're using it.
Yep.
And I loved using the Sony. I loved the tracking. And I even had the camera's pre-AI chip. I used the A9 II.
Yeah.
And that had amazing tracking. I will never get over how sticky it was. And that was without the AI chip. And that's something that I've never been able to really successfully use with Nikon. I've always had to really just set my focus point to where I wanted to focus. But they're all good cameras. They're all good cameras. You shouldn't be able to really tell a difference, especially with people always editing and stuff like that.
They always have different editing styles, but I always like seeing Canon just because of their colors. Like, their colors are just so vibrant. And another good camera company is, I can't remember the name now. Lumix, yeah. They have good colors as well.
Oh, Lumix. They're the ones that started this whole.
Oh no, it was Fuji. It was Fuji.
Oh,
Fuji.
Ooh. Fuji,
No?
great colors.
Yeah.
Focus.
Yeah.
No. Fuji's for the artsy people for sure.
Yes. I love seeing when people just post it straight from the camera because you don't really need to touch too much on the Fuji. It's just, I feel like it's almost like a point and shoot. You just really got to focus on the focusing part. But other than that.
So when you shoot games, are you always shooting RAW?
Yes.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Although, just for fast content, I feel like JPEGs are the way. I mean, I've seen the people at Rutgers, they use Ethernet cables and they get it sent to whoever, and they have an editor doing it there.
Must be nice.
Yeah, but it's just so cool seeing how their workflow is and just how professional it is that in a matter of seconds they're just looking through their photos real quick and just uploading it in their Ethernet port that they have, and they have somebody just do it, and it's right there for Rutgers to use.
Yeah, it takes a team.
Yeah.
It takes a team. I use when I send stuff, I'll shoot JPEG and then I'll send it on my iPad.
Okay.
So I'll plug in my iPad to my camera and then send whichever ones I like to them. But where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? That's a good question. Well, the first thing is that I want to be happy. I want to enjoy what I do. I don't want to feel burnt out. I want to balance my life. Right now, it's just not balanced because I'm in school and trying to get into the field. But in 5 years, I think I want to move somewhere. I don't know where yet, but wherever the job takes me. It could be here, out of the country. For job-wise, I would like to stay in college, in the college field,
Okay,
D1 maybe.
I was gonna ask you, like, would you rather go pro or would you rather stay in college?
Both. I think once when I graduate here, I would love to be an NFL photo editor, just because I know it's really hard to break in the field straight away. And becoming a photo editor, you still get paid for it. You learn a lot. You get that. I'm sure you get to ask questions about with the photographers there, and you're working with them close hands. So anything that they can give you, they'll give it back. And then from photo editing, I would be a freelancer. You got UCLA, you got USC, you got tons of school in California that are always looking for freelancers probably, and then even the away teams. I've realized with at Rutgers, not everybody goes to away games, and so they just hire freelancers. And so I feel like that's the easiest way to get
I will say
gigs.
though, like UCLA, they have all their people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
They don't just hire nobody.
No.
I would know because I tried.
Oh really?
Yeah. They just straight up were like, nah, we don't know you, we don't care. We get millions of people trying to ask us every day.
Of course.
That's cool. I see a lot of success in your future, especially just because you're so good at what you do, and just because I know that you love doing what you do. How do you balance? Like, how do you think you'll be able to balance kind of your work life?
That's a good question. In this field, you'll never have a 9 to 5. Nothing is a steady thing. So like you never know how you'll balance. Like I want to have a balance of somewhat of where I can find a time to work out, find a time to be with family and friends, and find time to make time for myself. And right now I don't have that time, so it's very crucial to me in the future that I find that time. As far as figuring it out, I mean, usually you get a weekly plan of what you have to do during the week and find time to do it. So I think to answer your question, it's just
you just got to do
figuring it out. Yeah, figure out as you go.
It's like with a lot of these things, man. It's like everyone wants answers, but sometimes you just gotta figure it out. A lot of this stuff is just you just gotta figure it out, whether you have a plan or not. You just gotta figure it out.
And that's how I feel like with applying with jobs. You might not be qualified, but they might think you are qualified, and you just never know until you just hit the button.
You just don't know. There's no harm in asking.
Right.
So, and go from there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's episode 3 of Breaking Into the Field. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys soon.